Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I'm really excited because the more that I talk about parental alienation, the more I happen to notice that it is coming up in the media. Media seems to be covering it more, and I'm really excited about that. So hi, welcome. My name is Maddie. If you're unfamiliar with me or my project, what I do here is I talk about a certain form of child psychological harm called parental alienation. I went through this for 20 years, and this really involves a parent manipulating their child to reject their other parent. So that's what happened to me. When I was 9 years old, my parents divorced, and my mom manipulated me to reject my dad for 20 years by making me believe false allegations, horror stories, and terrible things about him. Now, I'm just going to get right into it. If you're unfamiliar with who David Goggins is, David Goggins is a very inspirational guy. He's actually a retired U.S. Navy SEAL, an ultramarathon runner, an endurance athlete, motivational speaker, and author. He's well known for his mental toughness and his ability to push through extreme physical and psychological challenges. So he has a military background. He has published 2 different books, one called Can't Hurt Me, which is a memoir detailing how he transformed his life from an abusive childhood to becoming an elite military performer and athletic performer. And then his second book, Never Finished, is 2022, is a follow-up book on mindset. He has a lot of different personal philosophies that are pretty well known and motivational, mental resilience, discipline, accountability, topics like that. And so he, for a lot of people, is a symbol of extreme mental toughness and the ability to get through anything, to work through adversity. And he has inspired millions of people through his own personal story, but also speeches and podcasts and his own social media presence. So when I saw this video about Goggins being called a deadbeat dad, and then his other response to the video, I knew that I wanted to do a reaction video on it. I just wanted to add my own 2 cents as someone who's been through this child psychological abuse from the child's point of view. So he's claimed now, as you'll see in the video, that his daughter has outright rejected him for years, is claiming online on TikTok that he is a deadbeat dad, etc. And let's just get right into the video. Please let me know if you can hear the audio as well when we do this.
Oh, shit.
Okay. But I want help to understand. So for everybody, because like when you go on social, man, you can get obliterated. Like you have haters.
Oh, I got them.
Man, I got so many DMs from people. I think the only fan I have right now is my mom. I swear to God, on Instagram. Everybody else hates me. But tough question for you. But are you good at asking anything? I don't know why.
I don't know now.
I don't know if I
but no, seriously, dude. Yeah, I have to be.
Yeah, it's no difference.
It's just life, man. We're all fucked up.
Just recently, right? On I think it was TikTok. Your daughter, or I think it was your daughter, comes out, and you're just getting back on after 10 months on, right? And we've had different conversations about family and stuff, but just recently, this big, maybe it's last week, and it kind of went viral, pieces of it, right? Fill me in, like, what is that when you see it, when you see that from your side? What is it?
So this person is, I put the full link to this interview in the description. Their name, I cannot remember, to be honest with you, but I will let you know by the end of the video. Just hang on with me. He gets into it really quickly.
Feel, what does it mean, like from your side? Did you, like, it's a welcome back to Instagram or
that's
social?
It's a definitely fuck you back to Instagram. Yeah. All right, so to give you all context, I have to give you context first because y'all know what the fuck's going on. So in Can't Hurt Me, I talk about my daughter. I don't talk a lot about her because guess what? She didn't ask to be where I am. So I ain't talk a lot about her. She came out on, she's done a couple things, one on Facebook a few years ago. She did something on Reddit, and she just did something here about a week ago on TikTok. You all can get your phone. Her name is Jade M. Goggins. You may not have any context about it, but go to Jade M. Goggins and look it up. Basically, what she does is she calls me an absent father. She's never seen me before, doesn't know who I am, type of shit. That's how it makes it look, which is a fucking lie. She did something in 2018 on Facebook saying I was a deadbeat dad. She did something on Reddit with more deadbeat dad shit. Okay. I don't know how I'm going to explain this, if you guys even want to hear it, but you asked me a question.
I just want to note, first of all, how hesitant the interviewer was to ask him this question, because this is such a taboo topic. People don't know how to approach it, right? I picked up on that right away. And then I want to point out, which probably some of you guys, if you're parents listening, are picking up already with David Goggins speaking here. He doesn't quite know even how to explain the situation. He's hesitant to explain the situation. He almost believes that people will not believe him, it seems to me. So I really feel for him right off the bat. Also, excuse the profanity, please. He tends to have a lot of profanity when he speaks, but he's a very intense guy.
So I'm gonna try my best to put it in as much context as I can. Me and her mom got divorced.
You guys already know what I'm going to say. It is so common for this abuse to happen during a custody dispute, during the end of the marriage, or upon the divorce. Usually it happens when the marriage is going downhill and they're going to get divorced. That's what happened in my parents' case. It actually began at the end of the marriage. I began being put in the middle by my mom. So I just want you to know that it happened during the divorce for him. And I know a lot of you guys watching are like, I'm speaking to the choir here, but for people who might not be familiar with this abuse, it often happens during the divorce, because the parent who does manipulate the child into rejecting their other parent, or withholds the child from the other parent, most often has a personality disorder. Studies have found 95% of them have a personality disorder, either narcissistic personality disorder or borderline personality disorder. And these type of people with personality disorders, they take the divorce as a huge wound. It's like a wound to their internal ego. It's either rejection or they get angry. It's abandonment wound or rejection wound. And so they completely fall apart and they become angry and hurt and spiteful. And unlike a normal person who would go to therapy or try to move forward in their life in some way, try to heal, they use their child to hurt the other ex, to hurt their ex-partner. They use their child. They withhold their child. They make their child believe terrible things about their other parents. So their child hates their other parent and they're afraid of their other parent. And that's the situation we're working with here for anyone who is unfamiliar with the dynamic. Let's continue.
When she was about 1 year old, her mom thought I was her soulmate. Her mom cannot stand me, period, dot. She pretty much made my daughter hate me. I was in her life until she was about 15. And I will try to explain what happened. And I don't like talking without proof. So let me back up for a second. As far as the deadbeat dad thing goes, all that shit started, obviously, when people do that, they want to hurt you. There's been videos out there about me being a deadbeat dad. People who don't like me were very excited to see we got something on the superhero David Goggins. He's not a good father. I wish I could sit up here right now and tell you all, because this is what I like to do. I like to come up here right now and own it. I like to own the fucked up shit in my life. It makes it easier. I come up here, I tell you all as a fucking deadbeat dad, I didn't see my daughter, I'm a piece of shit. What are y'all gonna say then? Nothing. Exactly. So I can't say that to you all because it is bullshit. I've never one time attacked my daughter. I've never one time attacked my ex-wife. I've seen this stuff for years. People have made videos on me. That's my daughter. No matter how the fuck she doesn't like me, that is my fucking daughter. So I do not attack her. I don't go after her. I just sit in the fucking middle of it and suck it the fuck up and let people dog the shit out of me, call me Deadbeat. You know what? Go out there, Google pictures of me and my daughter. You're going to see them. There's a case that just happened, okay? Oh my God.
I can feel his stress. Let's take a deep breath. You guys aren't going to believe what he says at one point in this interview regarding child support.
There's a court case that just happened. It's 6 years. So I got this. I'm fucking shaking my ass off right now, dude. Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be talking about this. I get the sense he does not want to be talking about this, especially because he hasn't addressed it publicly. And she's been making these claims since, 2018, he said. So that's a long time. Okay, that's 7 years that he's been publicly defamed, essentially. And he has not stuck up for himself. He's not said anything about it until now. This video, by the way, was posted 1 month ago. And it has 250,000 views, which is why I'm really excited, actually, that I'm seeing more and more videos, more and more media coverage of this abuse.
All right, so I'm trying to find this shit. I took pictures of everything because it was a court case. I'm trying to find this thing.
I'll fast forward a little bit.
I know you guys like, take your time. I want to hear more of this shit. All right, so I want you to read that right there. Just read that right there.
It says, thank you. He has never, all capitalized, missed a payment, so I figured something was wrong. Thank you.
Okay, so what he's talking about is a child support payment. I've never missed a child support payment, okay? Why is that important? They went out there calling me Deadbeat Dad, trying to make it look like not only did I not see her, I wasn't paying child support. So I had to take all these pictures because they were going out here doing it. I never used them. People came to me wanting to know what's going on. We're seeing this, we're seeing that. I'm not going to talk about my daughter. I stood on that. Anyway, I was in a court case. They took me to court. They did, because my daughter and my ex-wife kind of morphed into one.
Let's talk about that for a second. He says his daughter and his ex-wife morphed into one. Okay, so we can talk about it a little bit from the clinical point of view, which is, I will reference Dr. Childress here. So Dr. Childress talks about this a lot, and he's done a lot of work on attachment-based parental alienation and child psychological abuse. The way the parent does this, they take over the child's identity. And I know this because this is what my mom did to me, okay? This is what my mom literally did to me. It's not a fun time. Would not recommend. So they suppress the child's authentic identity, okay? They suppress the child's ability to think for themselves, and they override the child's personal autonomy. And in that way, they make the child dependent on them. And because the other parent has been cut out of their life, dependent on them only. They also the child learns that agreeing with the parent who has been manipulating them and harming them is rewarded, while denigrating their other parent or not seeing their other parent or rejecting them is also rewarded. If they go with that parent, they're punished. And then Dr. Childress also talks a lot about induced psychological splitting. So psychological splitting happens in personality disordered individuals when all of a sudden they view somebody as either all good or all bad, and they can split. I can't snap with that hand. They can split just like that. Like at any time they can just split on anyone, and all of a sudden in their head, they go from being all good to all bad. So it's a defense mechanism, actually, where people or situations are seen as all good or all bad. And what happens is that they induce that splitting mechanism in the child, which is actually easy to do because children naturally have this psychological splitting mechanism until their brain develops. So the alienating parent encourages the splitting in the child's brain. And so what happens with the child is the child comes to idealize the alienating parent and devalue or vilify the targeted parent. They adopt this black or white mentality. There's no nuance there. That's why I have on my page, on my Facebook, Do you have one bad parent and one good parent? That's why I went to college campuses with that big, huge banner. And it sparked a lot of discussion because that's something a lot of kids who have been through this abuse will resonate with. The black and white parent on a pedestal, parent down in the depths of hell, pretty much. And I'm almost done with this, but I want to mention, because this is so important, how they erase the child's authentic identity and replace it with their own identity, the pathological identity. They use fear-based loyalty. Yeah, the parent actually exploits the child's fear of abandonment, fear of rejection. And the child has to maintain a secure bond with at least one of their parents in order to survive. So what they do is they adopt this narrative that the pathological parent is pushing on them, even if it means losing their other parent. So it's very sick, very destructive. And that really stood out to me while I was watching it, is that they morphed into one. And I want to also mention one other point, because I've been through this. So I was one of the type of kid that was always fighting back. I was always fighting back against this. Okay. So I had my own values. I had my own beliefs. I had my own thoughts and opinions that were different than my pathological parent. That was never okay. That was a problem. I was a problem because I fought tooth and nail. I fought at every turn against that forced, inauthentic identity forced on me. And I want to offer some hope here for anybody watching, anyone who's been affected by this dynamic whatsoever, because you can recover your authentic identity. If you're a child who's been through this and your parent spent so long making you be small, making you shrink parts of yourself they disapproved of, forcing you to morph into the kid that they want you to be to please them, you are still there deep down inside. Your authentic identity can be recovered. Let's continue to watch Goggins. And yes, he does get to more of the details about the situation. And when you hear more of the details, you will understand exactly what happened.
Someone at a young age, my daughter did not like me. And it only comes from one person, the mother. That said, I'm going to explain to you. Y'all can look it up yourself, because I want to show you some proof. So in 2016, they took me to court, and they wanted to modify child support. That year, I made about $12,000. Got out of the military, did 21 years in the military. So being in the military, you're going to pay your fucking child support. They tried to make it look like I wasn't. I did. Every fucking dime, which you just read. Okay, let's move forward now. Lee, my ex-wife, thought that I was making millions and millions of dollars in 2016 because I was on podcasts. They thought being on podcasts, you made money. They saw me on TV. They thought I was broke as shit. And you can look it up. Lee Pritchard, David Goggins court case. Look it the fuck up. It's out there. I don't give a shit. They deleted all those comments on TikTok. They didn't want that to be out there. Long story short, my daughter is 24 years old now. Child support in Indiana ends at 19. My book came out December of 2018. So if I wanted to keep money from my daughter, I would have waited 8 more months.
Push it back.
Push it back. That's not me, bro. But they don't want to tell that story. Anyway, long story short, please look it up, people. I went from $12,000 to $100 and some odd thousand to $500 and some odd $1,000 I made. They never wanted more money. They thought I was hiding money in offshore accounts and all kind of shit. Never finished, or Can't Hurt Me comes out December 2018. I make a good bit of money. My daughter lives in Brazil, Indiana. Okay. The average income for a family of 4 is $30,000. Look it up. I never missed a child support payment. On top of that, I also paid the extra. The extras, dance class, this, that, the other thing. No one knows that. Long story short, never finished. Can't Hurt Me came out December 18. Child support ended for her. She was 19. It ended August 2020. So that's about 18 months. 18 months. I made $500,000 in 2018. So the judge went straight off the calculator. It was the most child support given in the history of child support.
That you gave?
They don't want to tell you that. So for 18 months, because from 2018 to August of 2020, when Jay turned 19, that's when it stopped. All right, is that making sense?
Yeah.
And I'm saying the book, because that's where the majority of the money came from. In 18 months, she got $743,000.
I know he's just talking about money right now, but he will get into more of the nitty-gritty with his family and his daughter and how she rejected him. But oh my God. And I thought that my mom got a lot of child support. Oh, that's crazy.
In child support.
Okay? They don't want to talk about that. And I didn't want to talk about it till you mentioned the story. But guess what? Johnny, where you at? You over there? Can I see this microphone for a second? Get up here. Because they want to know. So this is my best friend, Johnny. Now, when I gave him $743,000 and I paid for it, I ended up getting him $914,000 because I had to pay for their lawyer's bills.
Right.
So, what the fuck did I tell you 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago, he says, hey, you know what I'm thinking about going to do?
Hey, put that motherfucker to your mouth.
He said, hey, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give Jade, my daughter, a cool $250,000 more so she has a cool $1 million.
Okay? No.
Now,
Keep on fucking going.
I'll go a step further. What's even more crazy to me.
Put it to your mouth.
Hey, what's even more crazy is he was like, when the book came out, he basically said, because they were a part of my life and they were in the book, his 2 ex-wives who has kids and remarried, he said, I want to retire them too. I was like, God damn. I'm like, that's crazy.
Oh, wow. That's really nice of him. I don't think I would do that. Yeah, so I have a feeling that he knows his daughter is going to watch this video. I have a feeling he's making this video or talking about it less to clear his reputation, and I could be wrong. I definitely could be wrong, but my sense is that he's speaking with his daughter's ears in mind. He knows she's going to watch the video, and maybe there's some lies he wants to clear up. Maybe he wants to tell part of his story, his side of the story, and he hasn't been able to. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt here, why he's just talking about money at the beginning. It does get deeper, though, as we watch.
So that's even more crazy.
Okay. Now, Mom, if you're willing, they're not going to believe a fucking word I say.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so there's another thing. And I knew this to the beginning. When I first stepped on the scene here in this little toxic corner of the internet with parental alienation, I realized, okay, so some people are saying that they're alienated from their kids, but it's all he said, she said, unless you have documented proof, which is so hard because so many of these people are so covert, especially if they're intelligent and covert. It is going to be hard to find true evidence. And I realized it's going to take the kids coming out of this to speak out about it and enact any type of change. And that's what he said. He just said, here, no one's going to believe me. So it's kind of sad to me. He's not even, he's aware of the fact that people might not believe him because it's just he said, she said. Like, who's going to believe him versus his wife? So he calls up his buddy there, and now he's calling up his mom, his mother, the grandma to the daughter. It's sad that he has to have other people speak to defend him, but I think it says a lot what the grandma says.
Do you mind just telling them 2 minutes so we can get this fucking thing over with? Because I'm never doing this shit again. But yeah, if you come up here, somebody help my mom get up here. All right, look, I've never done this before. And I'm never doing this shit again. So you guys, think about this. I don't know any of you motherfuckers.
That's what I mean. He's not making this statement or talking about this, answering the guy's question. This is all because the guy asked the question about his daughter. He's answering it. instead of just saying, I don't want to talk about that. He's actually answering it for the first time in 7 years. And as he says, I don't know any of y'all. He's doing this for his daughter. Maybe a little bit for his personal reputation. I don't know. I don't know what kind of guy he is personally, but I think he's doing it for his daughter.
This is my fucking worst nightmare in my fucking life. But guess what? I ain't running from it.
You got to admire that. Let me know. Do you guys admire that? Like, he's not running from it. A lot of people would be really ashamed and embarrassed and would not talk about this. This video has 250,000 views. That's a ton of people.
All right, I don't know. They're not going to believe a damn word I say because why? It's like Lee's word against my word type shit. But they talk about me being a deadbeat dad and an absent dad. I took pictures of every fucking text message me and my daughter had during this court case because the text messages were horrible. I took every email. I did all this shit because they were literally, it was defamation of character. Y'all can go out there and look at it, man. Go out there, look at the fucking court case. Go out there and also look at the fact that this woman, my ex-wife, filed for divorce from her husband after she got all this fucking money. Anyway, don't get me fucking started. All right, go ahead. Go ahead. I don't want tit for tat. I want facts. Mom, you got anything? Hey, if you don't want to say shit, don't. I'm just fucking pissed the fuck off right now. I'm shaking and shit.
Okay, I'm not going to take up a lot of your time because I'm also pissed off. I don't even want to be up here. And that's the honest to God truth. But I have to tell you, somebody told me about the video. I don't have TikTok, didn't have TikTok, didn't even know how to get TikTok, but I kept hearing about this video. So I asked somebody to help me get an account. I suppose that's what it is. And I had to respond because David's been called a lot of things, a lot of unkind things. Some of them are true. I even agree with some of them. But I could not and did not agree.
She's keeping it real, man.
With the bullshit about deadbeat dad and absent dad. I couldn't let it go. I couldn't let it go. So I'm going to try to hold this together, and I just have to tell you, I did respond. I responded, and I put my little TikTok stuff out there. And I had to tell the truth about conversations that I had as a grandmother with my granddaughter about her dad. How she never called him dad. She always...
Telltale sign. Telltale sign. Kids do not naturally reject a parent, even in situations where a parent is neglectful or abusive. Kids do not naturally reject a parent. They will not survive without their parents, okay? Kids do not naturally reject a parent. Even when CPS, studies have shown, even when CPS comes to take children out of harmful home situations, children will not willingly go with CPS. They will cling to their parents. So to call your parent by their first name or sperm donor, egg donor, whatever, classic sign that you have been manipulated. Classic sign.
always referred to him as David. As a young girl, he was David to her. I called him dad more than she did. Whenever I'd ask her to come visit me, she would say, only if David is not going to be there. That hurt me. That hurt David. I would beg her to try to have a relationship with her dad, and she said no. Now, you all know, and it's no secret, that David's dad was a piece of shit. He's dead now. But he beat us. He beat David to the point where I couldn't send him to school on certain days. But I made him, after I left, I made him go see his dad.
All right, I will say I do not endorse that. I don't want anyone to get anything twisted in this video. I do not endorse that. Okay. If the parent is truly being abusive or neglectful or harmful to that child, the child deserves a protective separation from that parent. They need to be removed from abuse, period.
Because that's what mothers are supposed to do.
But I will add that a normal, healthy range parent, even if their other parent, if the co-parent is lousy or a deadbeat, they're not going to make the child feel unloved or unwanted. A healthy, loving parent will actually protect them from feeling unloved or unwanted, even if their parent is abusive. Okay, that's the truth. I mean, that is the truth. I've had conversations with my dad. My mom is the abusive parent. I've had conversations with my dad. Dad, mom does not love me. Like, there's no way she can love me and do what she did to me, ruin our relationship for 20 years. There's no way she could destroy my love and our relationship for 20 years and love me. And he will try to reassure me that she does love me, that she loves me in her own way, that she loves me as much as she's capable of. He's not going to reinforce, you're right, Maddie, I don't think she loves you. She never loved you. She's such a bad mom. No, he would never say that because he's healthy, normal range parent. But I do not endorse putting a child in a situation with an abusive parent. That part I do not endorse. So let's make that straight for the record for anyone who's going to try to twist it.
As much as I wanted to hurt his dad, and I really did because he hurt us, I couldn't use my kids to do that. I could not weaponize my children to hurt their dad. And it wasn't until one incident when I was begging Jade to come spend the night with me and her dad, and she refused multiple times in front of him, that he finally said, Mom, quit. Mom, stop. And I did. I had no idea how much I was hurting David by trying to convince his daughter to be in his life. Now, I know that I'm the mother, and anything I say, she's his mom. She's going to say whatever she wants him to say. But I got to tell you, because of this TikTok video and so much was out there about David that's not true, I didn't want people to think that what I was saying was not true. So I wanted to get proof. So I do have, and would you help me do this?
I just want to say that this part really kind of breaks my heart. This is the girl's grandma. And okay, so for like 20 years or however long the child, for me it was 20 years, however long the child is living in their abusive parents' delusional reality that is so destructive. You have the family members. You have aunts, uncles, grandparents, like this grandma. And when I figured out the truth, I started calling my family members. Okay, part of me was so confused. Part of me was a little bit angry that nobody had told me what was going on. That people just knew the situation all around me and let it continue. And thank God I was never fully cut off from my dad's family. I was actually alienated more from my mom's family by my mom, interestingly. But I remember so clearly calling my dad's mom. And my dad's mom, my grandma, my mom-o, I just love her to death. She's my favorite person on this planet and always has been. We've had such a special relationship my whole life. I just love her so much. I actually named my third daughter after her. And I called her a couple days after I had realized that I'd been living a delusional reality enforced on me by my abusive parent. I called my grandma. I said, Mama. And I told her everything I'd learned. And I was crying and I was a mess. I said, why didn't you tell me anything? Why didn't you tell me what was going on? Why didn't you tell me what was going on, Mama? And I wasn't mad. I was just frustrated. I was frustrated and sad that she knew what was going on. It felt like a little bit of a betrayal that my family members, my aunts, my uncles, and my grandma, who I was closest with, knew or suspected what was going on. They did not know the depths of the abuse. They did not. But they suspected there was manipulation going on. They didn't tell me. And her response, honest to God, her response was, I was too afraid, Maddie. I was too afraid. I was too afraid that if I had said anything to you, that your mom would take you away from me forever, for good, and I would never get to see you. I also talked to other family members, and it was the same thing. All of them. Too afraid. Too afraid that it would cause my mom to take me out of their life completely. And you know what? They're probably right to be afraid. She probably would have done that. And I don't know if it would have made any difference to begin with. I do remember there were a few times where I told my grandma things like, I don't want to spend time with my dad or something like that. And my grandma would just, nod and say stuff to the effect of, well, your dad really loves you. That's as most as I ever had a family member intervene. So when I hear this grandma talking about how she would try to talk to her granddaughter, it breaks my heart. It does. It breaks my heart.
I hate this. I swear to God, I hate this.
Is this your phone right here?
Yeah.
See, he asked the fucking question, boy.
Well, you asked me. Yeah. All right. So I thought maybe if we had words, Jade's words, David's words, so you don't have to believe me. And here's the exchange between the absentee dad, David. No, I'm going to read it. No, I'm going to read it. Sorry you feel the way you do about me. You don't even thank me for the things I've done. I sent you $1,000 for your 16th birthday and don't even get a thank you. I have never gotten a thank you for anything I've done for you. Not to mention, you have never wished me happy birthday, Father's Day, or anything else. I'm not going to do this back and forth with you. One day you will see I am a good man. If you don't, I understand. I never liked my father either because he beat me. Now, I just want to
that must be so painful.
Read the response from Jade. I will never, ever.
That's clearly black and white. The splitting I was talking about, I will never, ever want to see you, have a relationship with you. And that's something I heard once, is that if you ask a kid who's been manipulated to reject a parent, what can they do to make the relationship better? what can they do? The answer will be nothing. There's nothing they can do to make the relationship better. Okay. That is so rare. So rare for a kid to be completely 100% against that parent as if they have died. I mean, you even mourn of an abusive parent. Like, there are things my mom could do. There are things my mom could do that would allow me to consider opening the door to having her back in my life. There are. But if you had asked me about my dad, I would have said that. No, there's nothing he can do.
See that you are a good man, because there will never be a day you ever see me again. You will never see me again, ever. And then you know how she ended it? Have a great life, David.
Now, I do have some conflicting emotions about all of this. I don't think this was the wisest choice on David and his mom's part by reading these messages. I don't think it's going to help bring the daughter back. I don't think it's going to soften her heart towards him. If anything, I think it's going to reinforce the alienation and make things worse. I would not advise doing this because she's going to interpret it as an attack, even though that's not what it is. So I do have mixed feelings on that. But of course, the messages are very cruel, very heartbreaking.
Have a great life, David. So I just wanted you to know the truth. Yeah, he's a tough man, but this hurt the shit out of him and me.
Appreciate you, Mom. All right, so there you go. So when you go to TikTok and you see the video, you see a picture of me and my daughter. And then what you see is my absent father. So what I didn't tell you all is the reason why I've been absent from her life for the last several years is because of what you just heard. When I went up, I couldn't stand my mom for making me see my dad. So when my daughter just kept saying, I don't want to see anymore, I don't want to see anymore, I don't want to see anymore, roger that.
Man, with his own trauma, with his own dad, and then having that replay out again, that must have been so hard. And I can understand why he would step back at that point. I really can. Yeah, must have been super hurtful.
That's how that went.
For, two things here. First of all, that is not where I thought I was headed.
Okay.
Second of all,
isn't that always the reaction, you guys? Like, isn't that always the reaction? When anyone asks me, okay, what do you do? This is a common question I get from people. Like, what do you do for work? Oh, I'm a stay-at-home mom and I have a podcast. What's your podcast about? Well, it's kind of a conversation killer. And people are like, oh, go ahead, tell me. And then by the end of me telling them, they either know someone who's going through it, they've been through it themselves, or they're like, well, that's not where I expected it to go at all. This guy's reaction is funny. The video is almost over, and then I'll respond to your comments.
there is nobody more fucking authentic than you. It's really deep, you know what I mean? Like,
this dude is like, oh shit, I asked the wrong question. What do I say? Like, how do I respond to that?
It's time for questions, right?
that's deep, bro. I've asked you a lot of questions.
No, like from the audience.
I know, but that was wild, bro. I appreciate you sharing it.
No,
I appreciate
man.
you sharing it. Very, very true, man. Let's get you got Mike over there.
Okay, he says it's wild. It's actually so common, though. It's actually so common. So common. People don't talk about it because of exactly this, because it's taboo, because people don't want to talk about it. They're ashamed. They're embarrassed. It's a conversation killer. Like I said, it's a conversation killer. I will answer some of these questions real quick. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Please like the video, leave a comment, share. Helps me get it in the algorithm and educate more people about this child psychological abuse. So let's see any questions here. Nigella morphed into one. My sweet son is now morphing into one with his dad 2 years in. I know he loves me. Hearing his father's disrespect and being worded by him breaks my heart. It might help to keep in mind what I was talking about how the child's authentic identity is replaced with pathological parents' identity that they want them to have, and their beliefs as well, their values, their opinions, everything in their brain. Really sad and sick. If you want to know more about that, I highly recommend checking out the work of Dr. Childress. He has a book called Foundations, and he also has a bunch of videos on YouTube. I also have videos that have covered his videos on YouTube. Dr. Craig Childress. He has really made it make sense for me and a lot of people. I think he's spot on. JNS says, so far we're not hearing the specifics of his case as to where, when was he there for his daughter? Does he eventually reveal the specifics? So he said a little bit that he got divorced when she was 1 year old, and that his wife began, withholding her and stuff from that point on. And then at 15 years old is when she sent those final text messages, don't ever, I'm never going to be in your life ever, ever. And then he stepped away. And I think a lot of that was actually decided because of his own situation with his abusive father, and he didn't want a relationship with his abusive father. So I think he was probably seeing himself a little bit in his daughter at that point. And keep in mind, this is a 20-minute video. So a 20-minute video on the spot in front of a large studio audience. I don't think he has a lot of time to go into the details about his personal story, but hey, I would love to interview him. So Goggins, if you happen to come across this video, reach out to me at the Anti-Alienation Project at gmail.com. I would love to interview you about the situation. Laura Lee says, I thank you so much for what you do in your channel. I'm an alienated parent with an adult 20-year-old child. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. Thank you guys. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. Let's do a few more comments. Okay, Ocean George says, so true. My son calls his dad that's never been involved with his life dad. There you go. Yeah. How can a child that had a dad, loved a dad, and knew their dad just change so all of this sudden? He also says, your dad is a good man. I'm so grateful that you have him to help you forgive her. Thank you. Yeah, my dad is a really good guy. He's the same dad I remember him being when I was a little girl. We were super tight. I was daddy's little girl. And I'm so glad we have a great relationship again. And he does encourage me to forgive her. I have forgiven her. I will always love her. That's why it's so unnatural for a child to reject a parent, even an abusive parent. Okay. Oh, Nigella says, am I the only audience here where the father is the alienating parent? Bonnie says, no, you're not. And I just want to point this out. I'm not a father rights page. I'm not a mother's rights page. I'm a children's rights page. And I've said this before. I'll say it till everybody's so sick of me saying it, which is that anyone with a pulse can alienate. The requirements to be an abusive parent, it doesn't discriminate via gender or sex. So while you might see more coverage on dads being the targeted parent, I will absolutely acknowledge all day long that mothers go through this too. And I don't focus on the gender because I think it takes the spotlight off the child. We can argue all day whether or not more dads are alienated or more moms are alienated. And I don't care what the answer is, because it takes the spotlight off the child. And the child is the one who doesn't have a voice. The child is the one whose not only childhood is being destroyed, but their whole life, okay, is going to be on a different trajectory because of this. So thank you for being here. All the mothers that are alienated, everyone knows that it's not a gendered issue. Everyone who has been around with my channel knows that. What are you guys about to do the rest of the day? That's absolutely, Janelle says that's absolutely true. It's a conversation killer. Yeah, it is. You just got to be willing to have those tough conversations sometimes. Sometimes I have the urge to just say I'm a stay-at-home mom and not even mention my project, not even mention my podcast. Because yeah, it does dampen the mood, so to speak. But there is, on the flip side, the opportunity when people ask to educate them, to inform them, and also to connect with people. Because when I do bring it up, more often than not, people either have a brother or sister, a family member who's been going through this, or they themselves are going through it as a parent, or they've been through it as a child, more often than not. Good question, Chris. Chris says, why don't children's aid societies recognize this as a form of abuse? Doesn't this violate human rights? It does. It sounds like parents are being erased from the children's lives. 100%, you're right. Okay, so doesn't this violate human rights? It absolutely does. It absolutely violates human rights, children's rights. Absolutely. To leave a child with an abusive parent is a violation of human rights. Even if psychological abuse is quote unquote hard to prove, as I've heard people say, it's not okay to leave a child with a psychologically abusive parent. Now, you're asking also, why don't children's aid societies recognize this as a form of abuse? Or why doesn't, for example, the United Nations recognize this as a form of abuse? Because they came out and said that it was pseudoscience. There are a lot of answers I could give you. One answer I would give you is to follow the money. To follow the money. Child support, for example. Title 4D, like follow the money. There are a lot of people and a lot of industries that profit from this abuse continuing, that profit from court cases being, years long, that profit from family court altogether, that profit from all of this. So that's one thing you can think about, but I would have to make an entire video to properly answer your question. Ocean says, I was alienated from my sibling by his adopted mom because he looked at me like his mom. It wasn't my fault. I was a kid too. Now she will stop at nothing to ruin our relationship. I'm so sorry. I also have been pitted against my siblings for as long as I can remember. So sibling alienation, you could call it triangulation, super common, especially when you have a parent with a personality disorder. It's really painful to go through. Bonnie McCready says, what can I do as the targeted parent? How do we move on with our lives and still be available to the child? I've made a whole bunch of videos on my YouTube channel about this, about my best thoughts and best advice, also including advice from other experts. And I have a whole playlist on my YouTube channel that says for targeted parents. So if you go to my channel, you'll find a tab that says playlist. Click on that and then go to for alienated parents. Bobby says, glad Goggins spoke out. Being a high profile might help. Exactly. That's why I get super excited when I see well-known people with large followings, large influences on massive groups of people, millions of people share their experience, because then we can start educating and informing the public. I just want this to be on the public's consciousness. Everybody knows what depression is and anxiety and OCD. And, a while back, like years ago, decades ago, nobody knew, for example, what multi-personality disorder was, until there was a book called Sybil that was published, and it became a best-selling book. And then it hit society, this best-selling book, bam. Now everybody since then knows about multiple personality disorder. I truly believe this is the same way. And I've taken to the internet to try to I want to grow my channel big enough that kids who are alienated can't help but come across it. They can't help but come across it and think, that resonates. A few more and then we'll go. Today is my little baby's sweet 16th birthday. I just want to say happy birthday to your 16-year-old. How do you deal with birthdays? When I was alienated, I hated birthdays. And all holidays. Ocean says, I was a child alienated by my adopted brother's family. I'm really sorry. If you'd ever like to share your story, part of what I do is I do interview former alienated children, people who've been through this psychological abuse as kids. I don't usually interview parents. I'll make that clear because there are other podcasts that do that. I focus solely on the kids. If you would like to learn more about that, please email me. I will actually put my email right here. At the qualifier is that you have to be above the age of 18. Why is it not putting my email? The Anti-Alienation Project at gmail.com. Yes, I agree. I don't think silence is helpful. I don't think silence helps anybody but the abusive parent. I'll say that. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is a good one. Raul suggests Maddie has a good video about the 5 things her dad did to reconnect. I also have another video about the top 10 things my dad did during the time we were alienated. I have a lot of videos about that. I also have a recent video that I did, which is on communicating with your alienated child when you have no face-to-face contact. I worked really hard on that video, and I think it's pretty helpful. I've heard good feedback, I'll say, from that video. And I also did a bunch of research and consulted with other experts for that video. So I would recommend that video for parents. It's always a good thing to focus on healing your own trauma and to create a wonderful life while still sending your child messages consistently with messages of unconditional love. So you don't want to send a message expecting anything in return. It's going to be constant disappointment for you if you're doing that. So yeah, thank you guys so much for being here today. I hope everybody's having a good weekend, and I hope that this video has been helpful for some people out there. I don't go live super often, but I'm going to be having a pretty busy week this upcoming week. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be posting a video or not, but it always really helps out to just like the videos, comment, share, boost them, whatever you want to do. As always, thank you for being here. Never give up, never lose hope on your kids. Or if you've been through this as a kid, never lose hope on creating a wonderful life for yourself. This is not the end. This is not the end. When you learn the truth about what you've been living through, that you've been going through psychological abuse, it is not the end. It is the beginning of a new, wonderful life. New, wonderful life that's better than anything you could have ever imagined. Children deserve to live in reality. All children deserve to live in reality. I believe that is a fundamental right as a human being, to live in reality. And I will die on that hill. So if you've enjoyed this video, please check out my other ones. I also have a personal channel that you can find on my page. I'm trying to grow that to point more people over here because I'm having a hard time growing. But yeah, I appreciate everybody here. Go out there, have a great day. Let yourself feel joy, let yourself feel love, and live the life to the fullest. See you next time. Bye.